Okay, so it is Monday, March 18th. This is the daily brief, and normally I start here and I talk about casualties on the battlefield. It's not neither up nor down, but they've just crossed the line of 13,000 armored combat vehicles. Amazing. Okay, UN report demolishes Russia's attempts to blame Ukrainian POWs for its atrocities. Like they had been doing this. I'm going to show you just a little bit about this here, and then I can't go too deep into this article because I can't even read much of this article without YouTube giving me some problems. Okay, so further details of Russia's crimes against the population of Mariupol in 2022, of Russia's systematic torture and Ukrainian prisoners of war. None of the information can be called new. Worth stressing, though, given the huge number of grotesque trials that Russia has been staging of Ukrainian POWs. So they've actually been putting Ukrainian POWs in prison based on, trying to get them to confess into certain things. Okay. These show trials and sentences of up to life imprisonment are only one of the methods that Russia has been using since May 2022 to rewrite the facts about its relentless bombardment and siege of Mariupol. Many of those Ukrainians forcibly taken to Russian from Mariupol were later clearly coerced or threatened into giving absurd testimony, claiming, for example, that Russian missile strikes on Maternity Hospital number 3 had somehow been carried out by Ukrainian defenders. Sure. Um, uh, Now, this report comes out just as Russia does this double missile strike on Odessa. They hit with one missile and then they wait for responders to respond, and then they hit with another missile while responders are responding. And it's the same stuff. And okay, so I can't go into the details of this without getting, demonetized, content, whatever. So I'm going to link this below if you're interested, and we'll just drive on to the next. I mean, it's just it'll curl your hair if you read the report. Ukrainian drones have hit 12 Russian oil refineries, and that was published yesterday. And then there was another here, it looks like, but this one today, this is just 30 minutes ago, Special Herzon Cat put this out, a wreckage of a downed drone, which according to Russians tried to attack an oil refinery in Yaroslav this night, 700 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Okay, so maybe the Russians are starting to wise up to this, and we'll talk more about the oil refineries in another video, but yeah, this does not look like it actually hit the oil refinery. It looks like they actually downed this drone. Otherwise, you'd see pictures of the oil refinery on fire. Okay, if you want a good overview of this, go back 2 days ago, March 16th, to Denis Davdov's Real Game Changer, Many Kabooms. That video does a good job explaining some things. Now, switching gears, U.S. Senator Graham, he's from South Carolina, is in Kyiv. Today, we welcome Senator Lindsey Graham to Kyiv. The U.S.'s unwavering support is crucial for Ukraine's success against Russia's illegal full-scale war, the U.S. Embassy reports. Now, the trick is that's going to be somewhat awkward because when he was last in Kyiv, was talking about we're 100% behind you, we'll get you whatever you need, that kind of thing. Taking these Russians out, it's the best money we ever spent. Remember that language? You saw that him saying that in Russian state media, talking like very fired up about that. Well, then about a month ago, you hear him saying this.
You put that in the package. You slim down the package to lethal aid, but I would support humanitarian aid, smaller in number, if it was a loan. Again, the Europeans have made 33 of their $50 billion transfer to Ukraine a loan. Let's make it a loan. I think that gets you President.
Okay, so he's talking about loans now rather than providing aid, and that's kind of a Trumpian switch, and I'm not sure how that's going to play or whatever, but we'll see. Loans not nothing, but it's not ideal either for Ukraine. Putin extends his rule in preordained Russian election after the harshest crackdown since the Soviet era. We'll talk about that in the next video, but it's something. Let me just show you this. This is Putin winning and coming out and talking to his
President
helpers,
Vladimir
people that helped
Putin
him
won
get
a
elected.
record post-Soviet landslide victory in Russia's election on Sunday.
Позволяло нам
This unity will allow us to act effectively on the front line
в сфере экономики,
in the economy, humanitarian development, achieving the goals of social development projects, he said. Although the win came with signs of dissent and criticism from the U.S. that it was neither free nor fair.
Putin Vladimir Vladimirovich.
The chair of the Central Election Commission in Moscow said Putin won a record 88% of the vote. With a new
Get that? A
six-year
record. Like, he didn't just win, he won a record. And that's what he was going for. As if we're thinking about it and going, you know what? He won 87 point something, almost 88% of the vote. That's really impressive. Congratulations. Good luck, President Putin. You've done a good job. No, it looks even more corrupt because nobody wins 87, 88% of the vote. If you win 60%, it's a blowout, especially in a four-way race. But come on, really?
term cementing his grip on power, the former KGB officer is set to overtake Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin as Russia's longest-serving leader in more than 200 years. There was never
Yeah, he'll be the longest-serving leader since Catherine the Great by the end of his term, which is, yeah, that's not a good sign. And again, Russia has re-Sovietized very much in the last just 2 years since they've invaded Ukraine. And before that, they were moving kind of in a more authoritarian direction, but they have really, really clamped down since the special military operation. Oh, can we say war now? Now that he's elected, I think we're going to be able to say war as he's going to. So I was talking with Greg Terry and Johnny Pierce yesterday, and if you haven't seen this video, go back. I posted it. It says Johnny Pierce, Greg Terry, Darren Gerdes. We're just talking. We took 2.5 hours. We were talking about it's all kinds of things, including this. My estimation is that he's going to need to mobilize again, and he's going to wait until there's some large event like the Kerch Bridge being blown up, and then when the Kerch Bridge is blown up, we need to really mobilize to make sure that these guys, whatever. But until such time, you can't say it. It's just a little special military operation, nothing to see here. But once something like that happens, he's going to full on talk about war. That's my prediction, and I've been wrong before, but that's what I think is going to happen.
any real doubt about his victory, given Putin's brutal crackdown on political dissent. But there were signs of discord. Supporters of Putin's most prominent opponent, Alexei Navalny, who died in an Arctic prison last month, called on Russians to come out at a Noon Against Putin protest to show their dissent.
And how did they dissent? They put ink in the ballots. There were fire bombs. There were all kinds of things that I cannot show and will not show here of what's actually happened. But I mean, just Google it and you'll find that. And you don't do that when you think you have free and fair elections. You only do that when that's the only way that you can express yourself. Okay, so last little bit, I saw this and I thought, what? Why does Western media hate Russian democracy so much? Because it's not actual democracy. It's a sham. It's a show. Putin, look at the headline again from the AP. Putin extends his rule in preordained Russian election. Okay? It's preordained. It's not real democracy. It's a veneer of legality in order to give this idea that he's legitimate, even if he's not. And he clearly is not. He spent $1 billion on this. Like, you spent $1 billion on something that was going to happen. What? Okay, anyway, that's all that I have. Thank you for the time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and the coffees. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.